What's going on, YouTube? We're going to do a quick wrap up and discuss a couple things about GameStop here that if you're new to trading and you're just jumping on to the GameStop train, some things that you might want to be aware of. I'm going to pull up here in Webull. If you don't have Webull, it is an excellent tool for monitoring stocks, also trading stocks, options, things of that nature. I use Webull to set stock alerts on several stocks across the day. I use it to watch the candlesticks because I like the visual of it. Visual is quite nice. I like the watch list on it. I like a lot of things about Webull, and it is my number one platform for watching and monitoring and alerting all the stocks that I like. So, if you're new to GameStop investing, then welcome aboard. I've been buying into GameStop for a few months, in and out, in and out. I remember when GameStop was trading at just 8, 9, 10, 12 bucks a share last year, which was pretty wild, hoping it was going to hit 15 or 20 bucks. Today, GameStop closed at 183, which is unreal. So let's talk about what just happened with GameStop. If you're getting in and you're scared about your money, you don't know what to do, and I want to talk about a couple things that you might read online or videos you might see or comments you might read, and just go through how to work your way through them, because I do listen to some streamers myself, and there's a lot of information out there and there's a lot of things going on, and this is not, by no means is this sound financial advice to rule your world, but it is a realistic opinion as someone who doesn't trade with tens of thousands of dollars every day or more. I like to kind of be realistic, and I do take L's. Don't get it twisted. I take L's fairly often. So, I attribute it to kind of like jujitsu, and sometimes you just got to let go of a bad decision. So, what we've had happen this week is we had GameStop trading somewhere in the upper mid to low 200s going into the earnings call. Now, I've traded earnings the last 3 quarters, and each one of them has definitely burned me, with the exception of one time that the stock actually rocketed up after earnings. Most of the time, they just take a fat L. So going into it, GameStop traded fairly sideways, as you can see. We had some movement here, $10, $20 movements across the day, but for the most part, pretty sideways. This is on the 10-minute chart, by the way. Going back here to the 22nd, so this is just the end of last week. A decent little lull, spike up to 227, comes into the earnings call, and there was a little bit of hype, hoping that they were going to come out and say something amazing, and they just didn't. They just basically read the earnings report live on the call. They did no Q&A, and they really didn't come up with anything that was staggeringly important. And what happened? GameStop took a big hit. After hours, drops down from peaking at 197, 198, drops down to the 160 range, opens the day after at 160, 166, 168, somewhere around there, and then tanks hard. I think it took like a 38% hit or something yesterday. It was bad, right? Tanks. Hits a low of 112. After hours, starts building some momentum. We see 5, 6, 7, 8%. Kind of dips down. And today opens up at 123. And it could have went either way. Now, the predictions going into earnings was that the stock was going to move $57. That was the prediction. Didn't know which direction it was going to go. Could have went 57 up, 57 down. Probably could have went 23 one way, 34 the other way. Who knows? It's just a guesstimate based on market volatility and what was happening. And then we have to also keep in mind that Monday and Tuesday, this downward trend, the entire market bled out. I was in Upstart. Upstart was rocking and rolling at 170. Tanks down to like 130 bucks, 120 bucks. Tanks down to like 108. It was brutal across the whole market. Just red. My entire watch list was just solid red for 2 days. It was very disturbing. I was down about $5,000 on my trades. Didn't love it. So today, GameStop, there's no news. I think people just saw the opportunity here, and remind you that this stock is a huge retail invested trade stock. If the short interest isn't crazy, there's no epic squeeze happening at the moment. It's just people like to buy it. And if you sold when it was up here at 180, 190, 200, and you've been playing the game elsewhere, and you woke up today and thought, hey, GameStop's at 115 bucks. We got ourselves obviously a big red candle off the open on the 10 minute, followed by some green. I'm even going to swap it over to the 5s so we can see a little bit more of a micro view of it. And then we saw this bull pattern form. I bought into the bull pattern right about here. It was about 8-9% up when I bought in my first deposit, and I put in about 5,000. And then I watched it, and it went up a little bit more, and I added another 3,000, and then I added another 1,000, and then 500, and then 500. So I wanted to make sure that what I was buying into was going to ride a bull flag, and it wasn't going to be some kind of fake out. So we had a solid bull flag pattern form. When you look at the 10-minute chart, solid bull flag, right up. And if we go back, we see this very, very infamous George W. that happened right here. This W pattern, beautiful. We also call it an inverted head and shoulders because if we flip it upside down, that's what it looks like. It looks like a little Batman down there. So this stock, once it surpassed a certain point in the day, it was going to continue on this uptrend and form this big W. So I wrote it out. Now, in full transparency, I sold right before the bell. I'm trading in, this one I was trading in Cash App. I like the ability to just add money quick from my account straight to it and buy it. I also like the ability to quickly sell it. I do assume the risk that I have no stop loss, no trailing stop loss, no limit sells, no limit buys. Buying the ask, selling the bid. But I didn't want to risk GameStop tanking in the after hours, the pre-market, and also if it does, I'll just buy the dip in the morning and ride it up again. Because GameStop is pretty notorious for having a decent little dip in the morning. It happens pretty regularly. Rarely does it just shoot up first of the morning. So I'm not too concerned. I burned a day trade on it. I've got another day trade I can burn tomorrow, so I might ride this up. We'll see what else happens in the market. But here's my advice to you, is that when you go through the comments and you see all of the people, holding the stock, buy and hold, keep in mind that people typing these comments are not always acting these comments. Some of them are. Some guys say, oh, I'm holding my GameStop till it hits 1,000 or 100,000. Keep in mind that guy holding that might be holding one share of GameStop. That could be, oh, I'm going to hold it. He might hold $50 in Cash App worth of GameStop, right? Someone who's in the market to make money and to be profitable and not lose money isn't going to hold $50,000 of GameStop when they're up 150 grand. They're going to sell it, and then they're going to buy the dip because that's how they got there. They didn't get there by holding it forever. Now, if they're buying options, they got no choice but to hold it if they're bleeding out and they're hoping for a turnaround. So there is that. But most of the time, these guys are trading this thing. They're trading it here at 175. They're buying back in at 154. Look, that right there, 175 to 154, $20 a share difference. Sold it, bought it. Sold it, bought it. Sold it, bought it. Very possible, all day long. That's what they're doing. Keep that in mind. Don't get out there and lose money. Don't do it. If you're up, sell it. I've made this mistake several times. I just want $100 more. I just want $500 more. I just want 2% more. I want the stock to move $5 more. The stock moves $5 the wrong direction. Then it moves $10 the wrong direction. Next thing you know, my 30% gain just turned into a 5% loss. It's happened to me several times. I don't do the trailing stop loss. It is what it is, since I'm not really an active day trader. So keep that in mind. When people say buy and hold, yeah, you can hold through some of this. And if you're eating a big L, if you're eating it for something that you bought way up here at 198, you might be better off if you're sitting here at 112 just waiting it out. for sure. But if you bought it up here at 200 and you sold it at 150, then buy it again at 112. Pick up that, fill your own gap is what I'm saying. Fill your own gap. Make your money on the upside. Now, some things to note about this stock. I'm going to pull up this article right here from Mad Money, Jim Cramer. Cramer says GameStop remains overvalued despite promising Q4 report. Is that true? Absolutely. It's 100% true. It's overvalued. Here's what we need to know. Let that sink to the mid double digits, then I'll get back to you. That's what he says. So he wants it to go back to 50, 60 bucks. Then he'll get back to us. And then he thinks it is what it is. It's worth what it's worth. As long as it's in the triple digits, it's trading like a turnaround has already happened. You can read through this article here. It talks about their earnings report, talks about management. And then, the stock closed Wednesday at 120, down 75% from its peak during the Reddit rally. And when you see a number like that, down 75%, well, yeah, it's down 75% from 500, which it barely touched. So don't look at that number, and it's kind of misleading the way they put this. What I need to kind of emphasize here is that Cramer says GameStop remains overvalued, which is fine. To the market makers, that is 100% true. To the people who go here and use, say, Webull and Robinhood and Cash App to buy it, we don't care. Look, as a trader who's buying this stock and selling it and making money on the way up, and the guys who are buying puts on the way down, they don't care that the stock is overvalued. It's irrelevant to us. We don't care. What we care is that today, if you said, I wouldn't get in GameStop, too risky. Don't get into GameStop. Don't buy it. It's all at 116. Bro, you missed out on 52% gains today. Think about that. 52%. I wrote it up. I banked $4,600 on my trade today. I put $12,200 in, pulled out $16,900. That's what happened from here to here. And I could have made more. Honestly, I could have bought in earlier. I was really waiting on my other position to see what it was going to do. And honestly, it did well too. Had I kept it, I would have been at a little bit less of a loss. I would say this, I would have been at more of a gain for the day. I think I took about a $300 or $400 hit on the position that I opened with. And that position ended up turning around and doing, I think 13% itself. But I gave up that 13% to gain 40. So keep that in mind. We don't care that GameStop is overvalued. We don't. We care that GameStop's going to move. We care it's going to move $63 up. And when we apply this same theory to AMC, I like AMC. AMC did phenomenal. 21% up, 1% in the after hours. It's half of the profit that I made today. It's not bad. It's definitely not a bad move for AMC especially. AMC could reverse back up and get to that $14 or $15 mark. But GameStop could reverse back up and get to that $250 mark. And when you're trading that, you're moving $60 a share or $40 a share. Granted, you don't own as many as you would in AMC, but that movement makes a difference. So I implore you guys going into tomorrow. Right now, our after hours is pretty straight, which is perfectly healthy. I would rather it be completely barcoding than dropping or honestly even skyrocketing, because in the pre-market, that's what matters. This right now, this doesn't matter. This doesn't matter at all. We go back right here. Boom. This is the time frame here. This is where we're at. This doesn't matter. This matters. This matters. This pre-market matters, right? So I implore you to try to check your emotions at the door. It was hard today. There was definitely, head and shoulders forming. If we just look, the stock chart is all about perspective. If we just look at it right here, the 1 minute, head and shoulders forming. Oh no, get out. Head and shoulders. Oh no, get out. Head and shoulders. Oh no, get out. This is what the bears want you to do. The guys who are betting the stock goes straight back down to 100 because they bought puts. And I know they did because I saw it all throughout the comments. Oh man, it's going to be 100, below 100, back to 80, back to 60. This thing's going to burn. End of day, below 100. Let me tell you something. Those options were not cheap. Look at the options chart. Those options were big money. big money. Look at them puts. Look at what they're paying for these things. Anything even remotely close to the stock price, well over $1,000 per contract. Load them up. Put $10,000 in contracts right here. $11,000. Look at that. That contract right there, 11 grand. Look at that. Put that up and watch it just burn. That was right now. Those are burned up. Anyone who bought that shit yesterday, that's a dumpster fire. You are warm. You are so warm. The dumpster about melted today on a 52% gain. The odds of that thing being worth anything, slim to none at this point. They didn't sell it immediately. They definitely lost out, especially if they were buying something thinking, Friday's expiration, super short term option. They're probably pretty upset with themselves. So keep that in mind going into tomorrow. I do have good hopes for GameStop. Looking at the chart, even on the daily, I don't care that this did that. We can't compare anything that's happening now to what happened in January because this chart looks very, very different. This chart looks like a big head and shoulders. Let's be honest, right? Right there on the daily. We go to the, let's say even the 4 hour, and it's a big head and shoulders. But GameStop does what it wants, man. It does not have to abide by the laws of the chart. It can do what it wants. So keep that in mind going into tomorrow, which is Friday, March 26th. There is no catalyst. There is nothing that is going to make this stock do one thing or the other. But I will say this, if it went up 52% one day, odds are it's going to take a hit tomorrow. And there's a good chance that it'll rebound from that hit. So buy that dip. Trade that thing, make you some money. I'm going to go my next video on a different stock. I'm going to try to keep them one at a time so you can just pick the one you want to watch. And I'm just going to do some of the ones that I follow. So check those out if you like. Give me a like and subscribe. I'm going to be updating the channel next week with new content and descriptions and pictures and all that stuff. But for now, we're just going to roll with these. So until then, I'll see you later.